Hi everyone, it's Jen Roque here from Stamp Camp with Jen. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Today I'm going to show you a project from my in-person stamp camp. So this will be featured as part of my July 2020 stamp camp recap that I'm doing. So for those of you that don't know, every month I hold an in-person stamp camp at my house here in beautiful Summerfield, Florida. We do 2 cards and a 3D project. One card is usually technique based. Another card is usually like a fun fold or something similar to that. And then our 3D, and then we always have a 3D project. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the first project that we did today. This is our technique-based product that we did. We did a little watercolor wash on the background here, and you can see by all this beautiful glimmer, I used a glitter pen, the clear Wink of Stella glitter brush, and we colored all over our watercolor background to get that beautiful shimmer. And then we used the foam adhesive sheets that are new from the annual catalog to create like this eclipse technique. So and if you can kind of tell, it's a little hard to see in the video. Oh, there we go. You can get some of that shimmer. We use the shimmer Whisper White cardstock. I think for any kind of birthday card or special occasion, it's always good to have glitter and lots of shimmer. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and show you how to make this card. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to grab our watercolor paper. This is the Fluid 100 watercolor paper. This is exactly what you're going to need to make your watercolor background. So we're going to use that. And then I also have the new water painters from the annual catalog. These are fantastic. They come in a wide tip, a medium tip, and a fine tip. We're going to use the wide tip today. So I have noticed, so these are great. They have this pen cap, which is fun, but I have noticed a lot of people having issues filling them, trying to get the lid off. So, you know, normally when you unscrew something, you go righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Well, these are actually opposite. You screw to the right to take the lids off and fill them up with water. So it's a little backwards, but if you're trying to screw it, you know, left, you're actually going to tighten it. So you need to screw it to the right. Okay, so we're going to use the wide tip water painter for our background wash. It'll just be easiest. So what I like to do, I like to start from left to right. So we're going to start with, this is Melon Mambo, Daffodil Delight, and then Coastal Cabana. So we're going to start with the Melon Mambo first. So the first step is, if you don't have any ink on your lid, you just smush the ink pad into the lid here to get that little bit of ink on the background, okay? So then we're going to take our watercolor pen here and we're going to squeeze it a little bit to make sure some water comes to the edge. We don't want it real thick with ink. We want, you can kind of see how as I'm squeezing, it's becoming more fluid with water. That's what you want. You want it kind of loose. So leaving a little bit of a border around the edge, we're going to start at the bottom and kind of make like a little triangle shape on the bottom here. So let's squeeze to get some more water. There we go. So I'm just going to do this bottom triangle, get some more ink. And I like the wide brush for this one just because it's quicker. You don't have to be real precise. So having that wide brush for this corner is going to be perfect. It's going to go really quickly, which honestly, a lot of times I don't want a project that takes all day. So this is great for that. And if you do have a section, like I can kind of see right here, it's a little bit dark, you can just squeeze a little bit more water and kind of keep going over it to kind of blend the colors together so that they're all about the same hue. Okay. That watercolor paper is going to absorb all that water just fine, and we're actually going to dry it with our heat tool in the end. So it doesn't have to be perfect. That's the beauty of watercolor. We just want it to kind of flow together. Okay, so then I have a paper towel that I grabbed from my kitchen, and you just want to wipe off the color from the Melon Mambo onto your paper towel. And then we're going to move on to Daffodil Delight. There's still some in here, but I'm going to smush the lid once again, just kind of push it in to get that ink to come out on the top there. I'm going to squeeze my pen, get some of the water flowing. There we go, you can see it. And now we're going to kind of do the center area again. Try to leave a background. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just want it to kind of blend together a little bit. You want to get those colors in there. And if they kind of go over, like overlap, like the Melon Mambo and the Daffodil Delight, that's not a bad thing either. It'll help them blend together and make it look more natural. Okay, so we're done with that. Again, wiping in between to get the colors off. And now we're gonna go with Coastal Cabana. Squeeze the lid, pull up. You've got your color here. I'm gonna get a little bit more water out of my pen. There we go. Perfect. So now we're going to do the little corner area here. Kind of just, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to get some color, blend it together. And the more water you add, the more it'll flow together as well. And if you want it a little bit darker, just go in, grab some color, and put it in. But I just thought these colors were so pretty together. I really liked it. All right, so I'm happy with that. So I'm going to rub the color off on my paper towel so it's clean there, and put our lid back on our water painter. Close this. So now we want to make sure this is dry before we move on to the next step. So I'm going to take my heat tool and dry it real fast, okay? You'll kind of notice the paper flatten out, and that's kind of how you'll be able to tell. You can flip it over and flatten it again, but that's how you get a good feel that it's actually drying, when it's not really curling. And if it does curl on itself, like you kind of notice with me, you just kind of flip it over, dry it on the back, and flip it on the front, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we're going to take, oh, these dies. I love these dies so much. These are the Playful Alphabet dies. I actually have the bundle here that we're using. We're using the Patter Play bundle. So we have the stamp set and the dies, okay? But for right now, we're gonna grab the dies and, oh, actually, no, we're not, hold on. We need to get that shimmer in the background first. So what we're gonna do is we are gonna take our clear Wink of Stella brush, and we're gonna shake it up, and we are just gonna color all over that background. See, I almost forgot this, but if you do forget, it's really not a big deal, because actually on my test card, I forgot to do this, and I just went ahead and did it after I had put everything together, and that's fine too. It really doesn't make a difference, but it's just a little bit easier, obviously, to kind of color and get all this shimmer ahead of time. See, this one actually needs, I think this one's drying out. I might need to get another one. I use these Wink of Stella pens so much that I think that one actually may be about empty, because I love glitter and I love the sparkle. And like I said, especially for this class, with this card, we used a lot of Winkostella to make these. So I just think it's so pretty. And it really doesn't take a lot of time to dry either, which is really great. So by the time we go to cut the letters out of these will be dry. All right. And I love that you can kind of just color it on. You can see all that shimmer on there. And if you really want to, you can take your heat tool just real quick, just to make sure, but you really don't need to. So, okay, so now we're gonna do the letters, the party time. So how we do the eclipse is we are going to grab our embossing machine here. And we're going to put, I have my magnetic plate on here. Now my plate, it's only about a year old, but it's something with the magnets. They're like demagnetizing themselves, so they don't always line up. So bear with me while I try to put these together. The new Stamp and Cut embossing machine will be available to customers September 1st. Demonstrators can order it August 4th. I can't wait. I'm going to order it and play around with it. And I think it's going to be a great tool, and I can't wait to try it. But for now, I'm going to keep using my old Sizzix Big Shot by Stampin' Up! That I have. So, all right, so we're going to lay out the letters here to spell party time. I liked that phrase. I thought it was fun. You can really use it with just about any celebration. It could be a retirement. It could be a birthday. It could be a job promotion. Moving into a new house. You can really use it for anything. So, and that's kind of what's great about this too, even though my magnetic base isn't lining up like I want to, like I told the girls in class. I think it's kind of fun when they're a little wonky because it kind of looks like the letters are dancing on the page and it looks like they're partying too. So we are going to try to center this as best we can. And the big thing to remember with this card too is to make this eclipse pattern, we need to make sure we don't lose these holes in the letters because we're actually going to glue those back in, as you'll see. So make sure after you die cut, see, I can move this a little bit and see if that'll work here. That might be a little better. It doesn't have to be perfect. I might actually purposefully move some of them. You got to make it work, you know. Sometimes it doesn't come out perfectly, but imperfect sometimes becomes perfect, which is great. So I kind of like that. I like the letters kind of wonky a little bit. I'm going to leave, yeah, like that. Okay. So the A and the M are kind of funny, but that's okay. So that's what I'm saying. You make it work. It doesn't have to line up perfectly. I like that they're kind of off center and askew because it looks like they're actually partying a little bit too. So we're going to put our top plate on here and run it through our die cut machine. And you don't have to go backwards. I know a lot of people do though. It's a habit. I do it all the time just to make sure that it cuts through. So we're going to take this off here. And some of the letters are coming out. That's okay, but we just want to make sure that they don't get lost anywhere. So I'm actually going to take these letters and set them right next to my card. And the important thing too, especially if you do a message that has multiple letters, you need to make sure the letters line up with the background. And I'll show you what I mean here in just a minute. So like for here, we have these two T's. Obviously, I need this T to line up here and it's not going to line up with the yellow and the green because that's a different color. So we need to make sure I put the T back in the pink when we assemble them. And then I have the I, and then the E is here, and the M, Y, that T, see? And then we have the hole for the R and the hole for the A. And we have the P and the hole for that as well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these letters to the side, and we are going to take, excuse me, we're going to take our shimmer white cardstock. I scored it in the middle. We're going to fold it over here and burnish with our bone folder. Okay. Get those strong creases. Okay. And so now what we're going to do is we are going to take our Stampin' Seal, make sure that the adhesive is rolled up to the wheel there. And what I'm actually going to do, just to be safe, is kind of set these letters off to the side, because we just want to adhere the background right now. We don't want to adhere anything else. So what we're going to do is we're going to put adhesive. Again, if it doesn't look like it's going, make sure the adhesive is rolled up to the wheel. Do even pressure. Move the Stampin' Seal so it's straight up and pull. That's all you have to do to get these to work. Sometimes you have to roll the adhesive forward to get it to go. Move the seal so it's straight up and pull. Okay, and just keep doing that. A lot of people are having a hard time with these, but that's really all you have to do. It's not super tricky. Okay, and then the big thing too is to make sure to get adhesive between these letters so that it doesn't buckle around the letters or bubble. Okay, so now make sure the card is in the right direction. And we're going to do it so it's centered towards the top here. We're going to have a little bit of a piece on the bottom because we're going to put our sentiment down here. So we want a bigger opening underneath on the bottom here. So center it towards the top and adhere it. Okay. So now to make the eclipse, we are going to take the foam adhesive sheets. These are also new with the annual catalog. I love these so much. And we are going to, oh my goodness, let me see if I can get one that's not crazy. Okay, so we're going to kind of move these to the side, keeping in mind where our letters are. I'm going to bring my embossing machine back. Again, you have your base plate, I have my magnet, and we're going to take all those letters and put them on top of our, actually, you know what, I am going to take the magnet out because they're making my letters move all around and I don't really need the letters to stick in a specific place. So I'm going to go back to my multi-purpose platform and my base plate and my adhesive foam. Okay, so we're going to put the letters all over. P-A-R, I just want to make sure I have them all. I'm pretty sure I do, but I'm spelling them out just to make sure I cut all of the ones that I need here. Party and time. Okay, so that's good. Again, they don't have to be perfect. You just need to have them on the foam and put your top plate on, and it will cut through the foam with this pressure. And again, I'm going to go back through just to make sure. And perfect. So now I can take my letters off of here. And I will show you how we make that eclipse effect now. Okay, so like I said, we have the background sealed down. So now what we do, we find the letter that we want to put in. We want that P. We are going to take the foam P, and we don't need the center for for the foam backing, okay? So we're gonna take they're double-sided adhesive. So you're gonna take the top part off. We're going to line up the P. Sit down for a second here. I'm going to line up the P. Oops, the backing came off too. That's okay though. But we're gonna line up the P. Make sure you guys can see it here. So it lines up on the letter like that. And then we are gonna stick it back into the opening, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and do that for all of our letters. Again, for the foam, you don't need the centers of the letters. You just need to keep the centers for the watercolor cutouts that you did, okay? So A, keep that little hole off to the side. We need to make sure we don't lose that, okay? And actually, if you want to make sure you're not going to lose those, it is better to adhere them as you go. So to do that, the easiest way I found, so my opening for my P is right here. So I'm going to put it on the back of my finger. I'm going to take my fine tip glue and just put a little bit in the center. And then we are going to take tweezers. I know it seems silly, but this was the easiest way I found to actually get it back in the hole. Especially the smaller you have the pieces, it just makes it easier. So you have the center for the P, and now this is the center for the A. We're going to do the same thing. This one's a little bit harder because it's smaller, but I just take a little bit of glue there. Oops. And you take your tweezers and you push it down with the tweezers. And that's how you get the eclipse background, because you have the centers in there as well. So we're going to do the same thing with the R. The R is the last one we have that has a hole in it. Again, you don't need the center for the adhesive pieces. You just need the center for the watercolor pieces. Okay. So the foam centers you can save and use them like as pop dots for another project, which would be great. So do your best to line them up. And if they don't line up perfectly, you can trim them as well before you put them back in the hole so that you don't have foam, you know, sticking out on the side. Okay, again, we're gonna put a little bit of adhesive and then use our tweezers and stick that in. And that is how you make it work for all of the letters that have holes in them. So now I'm going to finish up the rest of the letters, so bear with me, it'll take a minute to line them all up. But again, we have two T's, so make sure you have the T that matches the color going in the right hole. Oops. And then you just stick it in there. Now normally if you are doing a project where you want to use the foam backing because it's really thin, or like you want to pop up a whole word that's all together, if you're not doing this technique, then you would put the adhesive on the back of a sheet of paper and just roll it through your machine. But because we're doing this eclipse technique, that's why we kind of have to do it a little bit different and have to cut out the letters separately and then put them in the holes like that. Okay, almost there. We got the party, now we got to do our time. And this honestly is the most complicated part of the whole project. It's the most tedious, but I think makes a great ending. And all the glitter and the pretty background just really work together to make a special card for somebody. I thought the colors were really fun and beachy, great for a summer celebration of some sort. Maybe you want to have a barbecue, get together with some friends, and you want to make some barbecue invitations. These would be great for that too. Like a neighborhood block party would be a lot of fun. Alrighty. And because they're letters, they're not too difficult to line up either. And like I said, you can always, if you don't line it up perfectly and you have a little bit of foam sticking out, you can always trim it. And it's pretty easy to trim. I have my M, that's a little dancing guy right there, and then my E. Okay, and then another thing I've noticed, and you can really do this either way, I guess, but the E's in this, I'll show you in just a second. Let me fix this. See, they're not super sticky. You can't reposition the foam either if it doesn't line up how you need it to. Okay, so the E's in this, they actually, the bigger opening goes on the top. You could flip it the other way, I guess, and do it this way, but I think they're supposed to actually go this way. And that's how I've been using them. So, all right, so there you have your Eclipse Party Time. So now, oops, this one's a little off. Like I said, these aren't so sticky that you can't readjust them, which is nice because like mine was off a little bit. I'm gonna move it up. It looks better. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, oops, we're going to make this little message down here. It says, fill the day with all your guilty pleasures. So what we're gonna do for that one is I've already gone ahead and put the sentiment on my Stamparatus, and I have a piece of basic black cardstock here, just a scrap piece. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my embossing buddy. They retired these, unfortunately. I swear by them because they have little anti-static powders in them that will keep you from having a bunch of little flyaways on your paper. And I really wish they would have kept it, but for whatever reason, they decided to retire it. So, all right, so we're gonna take Versamark and ink up our sentiment. Now, when you put this down, don't smush it down. You want to gently apply pressure, because if you smush it down, it's just going to look like a big blob basically. And you don't, because the letters are so small, and you really don't want that. You want to be able to read it. So we'll pull it up here. It looks good. You can kind of see that it all got on there, right? So now we're going to go and move this to the side. And I have, this is an old product as well. It's an old tray, but I know a lot of people keep their stamp and emboss powder. We're using white today. They keep it like in a little Ziploc container or something. And that's a great idea too. I just happen to have this, so I like to use it. Okay, get all of our powder. I just like to use my finger and kind of flick it. If you see some little pieces that you don't want in a certain place, you can try to use your nail and move it, but for the most part, it's where it needs to be. So now we're going to use our embossing gun, and you'll see as it melts, you'll kind of see it transform from like a powdery look to a glossy look, and that's how you'll know it's done. And it'll get brighter too. You can kind of see as it melts together. So now you can see it's glossy, a little bit brighter. We're gonna grab our paper trimmer and just trim it real quick. Doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be, you know, somewhat even on all sides is really what we're looking for. I don't have a specific measurement. I think in my PDF instructions I do have measurements, but you can really, oh, that's a little too thick. You kind of just, you know, put it up there and, oh, that's a little thick, so we're gonna trim it on all sides just to make it a little thinner because I don't want it that thick. I know some people really rely on measurements. My mom cracks me up, actually. She's like that. If you say that you're gonna freehand something or eyeball something, she does not want to do that. She wants measurements and wants it to be precise. See, that looks better. So now we're gonna take our Stampin' Seal again and go all the way down and put it right in the center. That was probably the easiest part of the whole card, I think. But look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that a fun card? I really love it. I thought it was really fun, and I really think that anybody would be happy to receive it. Like I said, the biggest time consumer is sticking everything to it, but the coloring and everything is really quick, and then getting those little holes is what makes it that eclipse look, because it all blends into the background. If you don't put those holes in there, it's just going to look like you have a white background. It doesn't really make sense. So I really hope you enjoyed this project, and thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed this project video. If you need any of the supplies for today's project, please purchase them in my online store. Again, my name is Jennifer Roque, and I am located in Summerfield, Florida. If you're viewing this video on my blog, you can see the product showcase at the bottom of this page. Simply click on any of the products and the product showcase below to shop them in my online store. Don't forget to use this month's host code when you check out. Eligible orders will earn this month's free gift, the Gilded Gems. I actually have some of those if you want to see them real quick. I've used some of them. They're gorgeous though. This is the free gift this month. They're beautiful. They'll be great for Christmas projects, so make sure that you place your order so you can get that gift. Also, bonus days is still going on, so for any order that is $50 or more before shipping and tax, you'll earn a $5 bonus days coupon and a campfire badge when you shop with me. The last day to earn bonus days coupons is August 3rd, 2020. Thank you again for joining me today, and if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you never miss a video. Stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Happy stamping. Bye.